I'm a weak man because I need a sword, and you have no enemies. Those are the two most prominent lines of this anime. I know you must be thinking that how does this line even relate to me? Everyone has enemies, and how can a person holding a sword be weak? I thought the same myself, but there's a deeper meaning to it. Stay with me till the end and see how this one thought can give you a clear perspective of how you can make better decisions. It first got me like, how can a person have no one to despise? Because there is always someone who has done bad to you, has taken advantage of your situation for which you hate them. Because if you see, Thor himself had numerous enemies that would have taken his head gladly if given the chance. So when I hear this from his mouth, then I think that what could he really mean, that this man, a man of such caliber that even those heartless Vikings felt guilt in killing him, that could see that the others couldn't. Well, it turns out a lot. Thorfinn could have easily gone back with the old man back to Iceland after Thor's death and start a fresh life with his family and take the role of his father, but he didn't. But why? Because he doesn't know what else to do, and going back doesn't seem like an option to him, which is understandable, especially a kid of his age and what he has gone through. Actually, what happened to Thorfinn was that there was no one to guide him. It was just the choices that he made. That's why Thor had given Thorfinn a dagger to protect himself when he had no option left. Rather than fighting, Thor didn't want him to fight in the first place, but just as a last resort. So Thorfinn decided to go after vengeance, instead of only fighting when necessary. Who can blame a kid of 6 years not to lead in a path, and he's in such an environment around him that there is only war and chaos? If you see that in the first place, even you would take the path of war and fight. Thor always knew what will be at the end, as he was a great warrior and a great father. He took down 50 Vikings even without killing, but he gave his life so that his people and his son would be spared. Even the Vikings saw his bravery and kept their word. When Thor's body was punctured by arrows and Thorfinn went running to him, Thor knew that he didn't have much time to teach him. So he left him with those words, "You have no enemy." Have you ever felt like, I won't stop until I've got this person to pay for what they have done? Well, that's something that we all have faced, and we all think of that, which is very dangerous, because in the process we only hurt ourselves. I can connect to your feeling that I can't just let them go away without payback. Believe me, I've been in that place. There's a lot of time I used to burn in anger because we only had one land that was ours. But because we never used to visit it much, a few years later, we got to know that someone had made duplicate papers and sold the land to someone. For a few years, there was a case in the court that went on but led to nowhere. But the thought of it just made me curse those people, and I had a revenge intentions towards them. And I kept suffering in those thoughts, because it came as a condition that once this happens, I will be happy. So if these persons are punished, then I will be happy. So there is an implication that I can't be until it's done. And it may never happen like it happened to me. I never got justice, so it doesn't mean that I always be in that mood of anger and curse those people. Even Thorfinn sometimes felt like he shouldn't be on this path. In episode 6, when the woman who saved Thorfinn got to see the innocent boy, she saved him, but in the end it turned out he was actually the Viking who realized that what he has turned into, and at the end Thorfinn got her killed. When Askeladd died, the motive was gone, and he left the Viking life and turned into a slave with a meaningless life. He hated himself for taking the lives of those people who had no grudges with him, the people who were like his family and Ianar's family. While fighting with the retainers, he fell unconscious, and went into deep slumber, where he talked with Thor in his dream and asked him for forgiveness, accepting his mistakes over time. Thor told him that he is not at fault. It was his fault that he wasn't able to teach him the true way of a warrior. He told him that he doesn't have enemies. No one does. There is no one he needs to hurt, not even himself. He was then dragged inside the ground where he thought that he is in the afterlife. As he sees Askeladd, where everyone is fighting each other and killing each other, and where everyone is your enemy, which is something he used to do before he escaped that life of Viking, said Askeladd. But did he really escape? Is he an empty man or still believes in the idea of the Viking warrior? Because after many years of renunciation from the fighting that he used to do as a Viking, he struck a man again. That's why Thorfinn thinks that he is back in the same place, because he was not able to keep his promise, which we all try. We all try not to hate anyone or have grudges upon anyone for what pain they have caused us, or for some reason that we keep on attracting that hate and revenge mentality, punishing ourselves because in anger we might end up doing things that we will later regret. That's when Thorfinn said that I belong here. Askeladd, with a smirk on his face, said, it's not your time yet. Go show them. Go show the world that what a true warrior is. Take all your sins and channelize into something of creating a heaven that always your father and you have dreamt of. A world without slavery and war. After waking up, he felt free of burden, and he understood that what his father was trying to tell him, and seized the path very clearly. While walking together with Einar back to the farm, both of them beat. Einar sees Thorfinn crying. Thorfinn accepts his mistakes and takes an oath to be reborn as a true warrior who doesn't need a sword, swearing off all the violence, making him a better version of himself. He relates to the same feeling that he stops suffering for his hatred. You can relate to the same feeling when you stop blaming someone for what they have done and take actionable steps to fix all this. It will feel like when you have found a new path of light inside a dark forest, which shows you the way out of it. What I have found out, the best way to find clarity is, most importantly, start with yourself. Start being your own friend rather than your own enemy. Stop seeing other people as your enemy. Have a more positive mindset. Definitely, it won't happen in one day. Believe me, it's practice. It's much harder to love yourself than others. If you find the strength to stop hating people who have done bad to you and start being positive to yourself and others, before you know it, it will all be over. It will be all clear, and you won't be always fueling yourself in hatred. Instead, you can focus on growth and happiness. Learn to let things go if you can. If it's of no value, let it go. Don't be the young Thorfinn and waste your energy and time on something that you will never get you anywhere and make you suffer instead. I hope that will help you to have a much clearer mindset. And remember, don't be your own enemy.